Hey everybody, welcome back to another Dice Tower review. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Mike Delisio.
Today we're going to be taking a look at a little card game here called Sea Salt and Paper from Bombix Games. And in this one, you are going to be drawing cards, collecting sets, playing some cards, but holding some back, and at some point, maybe, calling for the end of the round. If you think you're winning, you want to call for the end of the round. So it's a little set collection kind of card game. Very small, pretty easy. Let's go ahead and show you how it works, and we'll be right back. Setting up the game is exceedingly easy. You're going to shuffle up the deck of cards, and then you're going to reveal two into two face-up discard piles, and you are ready to begin. Each player on their turn is going to take a card, and they can do that in one of two ways, and then they may play a pair, and they may call for the end of the round. So, back to the top. Taking a card. You can either take the top card from either discard pile, or you can draw two cards from the deck, look at those two privately, and then keep one and discard the other. So perhaps I'll keep this one and I'll discard that. And I'll tell you what all the cards do and how they score in just a sec. The next player would then go, perhaps they'll simply take this one off the top of the deck. That goes in their hand. The next player goes. They might draw two here and keep one of those. If when you are about to discard, one of the two discard piles is empty, you must discard into it. And it'll come back around to me in this case if I have three players. If you ever have a pair of cards, then you may trigger those cards of the kinds that can be triggered. And those are going to be, for example, we have here the ship cards. If I have two of those, I can trigger them by playing both out in front of me. They're going to be worth a point, and they're going to give me an ability, all right? There's also then the crabs over here. You've got the fish, two fish, and then also the swimmer and shark cards, which go together. So, for example, these two are a pair, and I can play these two, one swimmer, one shark, as indicated up here. I would put them out in front of me and trigger that ability. Starting from up here, those abilities are going to be, over here, take another turn. You play two of these in front of you, you go again immediately. And again, they're worth a point. And that is, both cards together, by the way, are worth a point, two of those. This over here lets you look at one of the two discard piles without shuffling it, take a card out of it, and put the rest of it back on the table. This one over here lets you draw a card from the pile and add that to your hand. And then down here, the shark and the swimmer lets you steal a card from another player's hand. This happens a little more rarely. There's fewer of these, plus you need that specific pair, not just any two crabs or any two fish. So it's a little nastier, but it's a little more rare, all right? So again, these are things you can do in-game, and it's pretty much the only thing you're going to do in-game is play a pair of one of these kinds of cards. That's your second step, possibly. Your third and final step is you may call for the end of the round, and that's going to happen if you have at least 7 points. Those points are going to be anything in your hand, plus any pairs you've played, again, are 1. Many cards are going to give you victory points, and when you call for the end of the round, you have a choice to make. You can either say, stop, I have at least 7, round is over, the game's over now, and everybody will score their points. Or you can say last chance, which is you pushing your luck and saying, I think if I allow you all to take one more turn, I'm still going to have more points than you all. If that is the case, the other players will score at a penalty and you get a bonus. If it is not the case and someone has more points than you, then you'll take a penalty and they'll score their normal score. All right? So let's go over some cards over here. We've got these and a few more like that I can show you. Let's take a look, like the penguin, for example. Here we go. These are all going to score the same way. Having more of that same kind will give you victory points for that, all right? There's a few that are like this one here, which are going to give you victory points based on other cards. 1 per fish card, 1 per boat card, and you'll get those points, whether you played them out on the table or not. If you have them, they count. And then we've also got in here the mermaids. I'm trying to see if I'm forgetting any kinds of cards. I'm looking through these. I don't believe so. There are 4 mermaids, like this one here. That mermaid is going to do one of two things. First of all, if you have all 4, you just win the game. It's very rare, but you could do it. And then the other thing is they'll score 1 point for the color you have the most of. And again, all of the colors out here are going to be different. There's also a little player aid there. If you have a hard time telling the colors apart, they do have a symbol. So for example, a pink over here, light pink, has that symbol right there, which is also right there. If you have more than one mermaid, by the way, you will not score the same color for each. So the first one is your most populous color. If you have another mermaid, that is your next most common color. So you'll score that. Everybody will write down that score. You will then shuffle up the cards, do it again, and you will continue playing hands until you get to the necessary points in order to win, which is for 2 players, 40 points, 3 players, 35, and for 4 players, 30 points. And that's how you play the game. All right, there we go. So that is Sea Salt and Paper there. This is one that I was interested in because of, well, one pretty obvious reason, that is the designers. Specifically one designer, Bruno Catala, but Théo Rivière is also a good designer, someone who is a little bit younger, sort of a newer French designer. But again, a lot of these French designers collaborate. There seems to be a lot of mentoring there.
Yeah,
and I think it leads to a lot of interesting collabs. So that was the main thing that was captivating me about it. The second one, very close to that one actually, the look of this game.
Oh my gosh.
The look of this game is fantastic.
It really is. It's so unique. You know, they could have gone in so many different directions. I've actually seen a little bit of pushback against the art in this game. I don't quite get it. I mean, obviously art is, a very personal thing.
And this is different. I could see this being divisive because it is origami that is then photographed.
Right.
That's really what it is. And it's its own thing. I could totally see people going, this isn't for me, I find it confusing, and I completely understand that, to be fair. We are focusing on it sort of in a moot sense because you can just look at the cards and decide if you like them or not. Absolutely. But I like it a lot, and I do want to, sort of give kudos where kudos are deserved for going in a different route.
I agree. I absolutely adore the look of it. And kind of going along with that is the graphic design, I think, was done well. Obviously, they went the language-independent route. The icons, I think, make sense for the most part. I mean, it's nice they also do give you little player aid cards to kind of help with that. And, after your first game, that's likely not necessary. But for your first game, it's nice that they are there. The look, the design, I'm all on board.
Yeah, I agree. So as far as the gameplay goes, and this is a tricky one for me because it does a lot of things that are lucky, that feel random, that lack control, especially with more than 2 players. You really don't have that much control. But the thing about it is, and again, this is a weird thing, I feel like the game makes it up in other areas.
Yes.
Yeah,
in many ways, I mean, this game is top deck the game. A lot of times, your optimal play is top decking cards. Right? But you're right. It still works because there are so many different avenues that you can take. It's very rare that I'm looking for one particular card.
Sure.
I try to have some variety in my hand so that, hey, a shark is good right here. Hey, a shell is good right here.
Right.
Sometimes if you're going to go the shoot the moon route, that's a little different. But we can talk about that in a minute too. But I'm with you. You have to be comfortable with luck. You have to be comfortable with top decking. But it doesn't feel like other games that have this element of luck. It's hard to describe why.
I think, and I'm sort of spitballing here, but I suspect it's the feel of this game is a little more, it's a warm game. It's sort of a relaxing game. There's something about it that does feel familiar. It's like putting on an old sweater and going, this is my sweater. I'm familiar in here. I feel comfortable in this.
Yeah.
It reminds me of people who enjoy a regular deck of cards and they play one game, say, I don't know, euchre. If you're from Michigan, you play euchre, by the way. Those people play just that, and they're incredibly comfortable in it, and they find it a soothing activity to come back to. Maybe. I know some euchre players who are cutthroat. But that's the idea, and I think this game manages to tap into that. The brain wavelength that this manages to sneak into is that feeling of, we're going to chat and we're going to relax, enjoy a cup of coffee or tea, and play some cards.
That's very true. It does have it does have a classic card game feel, all the way down to some wonky scoring issues too. Like many classic card games have kind of these weird little scoring twists, and until you wrap your head around them, you're like, "What is this?" Oh, I get it. So with this one, it has that kind of twist of the if you're at 7 points, you can call. Right. You don't have to, but you can. And also it has this thing of you can lay down cards. You're kind of incentivized to do that because they give you some extra powers or abilities. But yeah, it definitely has that kind of classic card game feel. And it's just hard to describe, but I think you did a better job than I did.
I think the mood at the end of the day, which is something we're going to have a hard time showing you or telling you about, is a big part of the game. I think that's ultimately the point I'm trying to make, is that this one looks, not artwork-wise, but as far as mechanically, it looks like not much. Yeah. To be fair, it's a small little thing.
It is.
But I think the mood it sets, the environment, the vibe, for lack of a better term, is a big part of the package.
Yeah, I'm trying to think how many times I've played a modern card game where in the middle of the first game, the learning game, I'm chatting with the other people.
Right.
You know what I mean? Usually I'm so focused on what am I doing? What's the point of this here? You get the idea pretty quickly, and it kind of you get into this rhythm. I think maybe that's the thing. This game has a rhythm to it.
Yeah.
And it's very pleasant. I mean, it just is a pleasant feel.
It is pleasant. That's it. So ultimately, for me, this is a game that's very hard to give you a number rating for.
Yes.
I think for some people, this will easily be a 4 out of 10. They're like, this is Uno with 2 extra rules. This is dumb. This is not for me. And you know what? They're probably right. I like it a decent amount. I thought it was for me. I don't know how else to put it. And I'm not going to want to play it all the time, but when the mood is right, when I'm in that sort of lazy Sunday morning mind frame, few games I think are going to manage to pull this off as well as this. I'm not giving it a tremendous score, but I am coming down at a 7.5. 7.5 means right and exactly what I need for some occasions, not a blanket statement for everybody at any given moment. I like it. It's incredibly pleasant, like you said.
Yeah, and I'm coming even a little higher. I'm coming at an 8 because I look at this as a whole package. First of all, there's so many decisions they could have made that they didn't, and I'm glad they didn't. Look at this box. This is no bigger than it needs to be.
Yes.
Right? I appreciate that they did that. The look, they did not go the easy route. They did something a little bit different, a little bit iconic. No, that's not the right word. I don't know. It's just very unique. It's a very unique...
Iconic? You were going to say iconoclast.
Yeah, but I meant iconic.
Not it,
yeah, it's a very interesting look, and the feel is just right up my alley. This is a game that I would look forward to teaching other people. And more and more, that's becoming important to me. Is this a game that I look forward to teaching and introducing to other players? This is definitely one of those games where like, hey, this is a little card game, but wait for these little twists. You got a little shoot the moon thing here. You've got a little bit of a top decking thing. It's a really good game. I really enjoy it.
I think I'll be teaching it a lot to non-gamers, actually.
Right, I agree.
I think gamers are going to expect more. Wow me, dazzle me. What else?
Yeah.
You know, I'll teach this to non-gamers, and they'll be like, this is fun and pleasant. I'm smiling and chatting, and I'm having a good time.
Yep.
And that's all they're looking for.
Right.
This is that game. It manages to do that so well. So there you go, folks. That is Sea Salt and Paper. That is a seal of approval from us. We approve of this little game.
We do.
And that's going to be it. My name is Z Garcia.
I'm Mike DeLisio.
Enjoy a cold beverage on a Sunday morning.